Hello everyone and welcome to Esonet, the Esoteric network, where I talk about all things esoteric, spiritual and supernatural. Today I'm going to talk about exorcism, Hollywood versus reality. I have assisted in over 100 exorcisms and I have witnessed hundreds more. Today I'm going to talk about my observations and in particular what the Hollywood gets right and what it doesn't. Welcome to this episode of Esonet. As mentioned, I have assisted in over 100 exorcisms and witnessed hundreds more as an observer. I also happen to be a movie buff and I love movies. I cannot tell you how many times I close my eyes while watching a horror movie saying, that never happens. Or in contrast, thinking, I'm surprised Hollywood got this right. Today, I'm going to talk about what is actually true and what Hollywood makes up in order to make a successful movie. No, this never happens, or at least I have never seen it. I am yet to see an infected person crawl on a wall or a ceiling, and I suspect I never will. If I ever see it, I'll be sure to take my phone and record the footage, share it on YouTube and become a YouTube sensation. I give you my word. This can indeed happen. Very often the infected person might be weak or even tiny in stature, yet they portray incredible strength. Very often unexpected, given that person's physique. For example, you see a tiny, skinny, middle-aged woman, but a couple of large, fit, young people cannot hold her down during the exorcism. So it's true, it happens. This can happen to some extent, but Hollywood exaggerates things. For instance, you can see that neck rotating unnaturally to the extent that you might think, oh my god, no way. But not 180 degrees or 360 degrees, like that famous movie we all know, The Exorcist. Now, while on the subject of unnatural movement, I once saw something that is worth mentioning here, and it was truly disturbing. This also ties in with what I just mentioned as incredible strength. A skinny man in his 40s with very little strength or build in his midsection fell on the floor and went into what is referred to as demonic demonstration. Now, what he did was what I can explain as sit-ups at incredible speeds, beyond what the human body is capable of. Without his legs or feet being supported or any resistance holding him down, he started his upper torso up and down, faster than I can do with my fingers. We are talking incredible speeds, more like a piece of machinery than a human. I have worked out with world-class martial artists and bodybuilders, and none of them were capable of such a feat. So imagine my disbelief when I saw this. What I saw on that day was not human. It was an incredible thing to watch and something I remember for the rest of my life. Always, almost always. In fact, it happens so often that the exorcist or one of the assistants always carries a bucket in anticipation. That said, vomit does not spew out like water out of a fire hydrant, as Hollywood likes to portray. Again, I'm referring to that movie. In fact, sometimes nothing comes out at all, and it's just a feeling of reflux, or should I say nausea. Yes, almost always. As the supernatural forces loosen their grip on the victim's nervous system and cognitive faculties, the body goes into a state of release. And strange, bizarre, and unnatural noises are often heard. It's very true. It is important to stay centered and not be affected by any of it if you are there. Not often, but it can take place. The person breaks out into speaking in a language whose origin is not the earthly realm. I mean, you just know it. The language, words, and sentences have their origin in some other dark realm. What I can say is that it is unnatural and disturbing. It's unlike anything you have ever heard before. So, yes, it's true. It can happen, but not often. Now, there is a reason I called it devil's language and not xenoglossy. Xenoglossy is when a person speaks in a language he has never heard or spoken before with the corresponding accent. For instance, a person in a remote Himalayan village who has never traveled far beyond the local area suddenly starts speaking English with an upper class London accent. Now, there are other paranormal explanations for this phenomenon. In fact, I might make a video about it in future. But these are spoken global languages that are actually spoken by humans on Earth. What we are talking about here is supernatural, and it has a supernatural, sinister, ominous quality to it. I mean, you just know it's coming from a source that is not the Earth and not the heavens. Okay, this may shock many, but Hollywood got this right. Demons have lots of abilities, including psychic abilities. They just know things. And if they are caught in a struggle, they throw everything they have at the exorcist. And this includes the exorcist's deepest, darkest secrets. They essentially try to get into the exorcist's head, so to speak. To give you an example, watching adult movies or acts of infidelity are highly frowned upon in Christian circles. And if the exorcist has been doing these, the demon would most certainly rub it on his face in front of everyone, or whatever deep, dark secret they are hiding, in order to discredit and embarrass the exorcist in front of others. Hollywood got this 100% right. Okay, yes and no. I have seen the infected person bending drastically backward and lifting themselves off the ground on their arms and legs, but I have not seen anyone then walking around on their hands and feet backwards with their stomach facing up. Very often, Hollywood employs expert gymnasts and acrobats to perform these very difficult stunts. I have not seen that, so yes, I have seen the infected person bending backwards while on the floor, but no crawling. Yes, it's true. Very often, the demon residing in the victim tries to attack the exorcist. This could be verbal or physical, and it's the assistant's job to neutralize this and protect the exorcist. If the attack actually takes place, it can have bizarre consequences. I knew of someone who got punched by a possessed person in the stomach. He survived the punch. It wasn't too hard or too bad or anything, but he got diarrhea the next day. So I'm guessing some energy transfer took place in that encounter. It does happen, but not often. Although I could not establish whether the source of the smell is poor hygiene or the supernatural directly. Even if it's poor hygiene, it's a result of possessive forces interfering with that person's well-being and wholeness. So directly or indirectly, it is from the affliction. It is real and it can happen, and may I add, the offensive odor is very, very, very hard to bear. It's rare, but it can happen. It can happen, but very uncommon to see in my experience. Not as much as Hollywood likes to portray it, no. Okay, I have never seen it happen, but I know it can happen. So imagine what a rare phenomenon this is. It does not happen often at all. I mean, I saw hundreds of exorcisms and never saw it. So that says something about the rarity of this matter. If you have seen it, please share your experience below. It would be interesting to hear. Well, that's all I have for you today. Hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. Please note, these are some of the phenomena I have observed, not all. There are more. I'll continue this topic in future videos, which includes a couple of very interesting points. So until next time, stay safe, stay blessed.